this is where we left off the Guildsman in the last episode. It's not looking bad, but you can still see the damage through the heavy tint, even at first glance, so there is something else that I'm going to try with it. We've had it out before many times, usually to do bodies with, to get that kind of black chrome effect, but it is mainly, well, it is designed to tint plastic real light lenses on real cars with, so it should be even better for something like this than it is on the metal bodies. So it will darken the green a bit, but it'll only darken it, it'll still be green, and it should just tint it in such a way that the cracks might just be a little bit more difficult to actually perceive. Unfortunately, the seats and the interior inside will also be a bit more difficult to perceive, but while that's drying, I'm going to do this. This is a Lamborghini Marzal, very similar to the Vauxhall Guildsman. It's a concept car, as is the Guildsman. They were around at the same time. They could very well be the same age, and they could both potentially suffer from similar problems. I mean, this has got this sort of dog bone plastic suspension, same as the Guildsman, so that could have just as easily been broken in this one. Same with the glass. The glass is quite fragile and quite prone in these as well. So, and really, it looks in worse condition than the Guildsman did to start with. Apart from the glass, it actually looks rougher. Anyway, I'm going to restore this in the time it takes for the glass unit on the Guildsman to dry. I mean, that's not much of a feat really, because now we've used that lens paint on it. It needs 24 hours to cure, so it's not like I've just said I'll get it done in 20 minutes or anything like that, although it does take 20 minutes. Part of the reason I wanted to do this was just to show that these really old ones, because I mean obviously this is like 50, 60 years old, when they're in poor condition like that and they're all oxidised looking and kind of almost burnt looking, I mean they're not, but I don't want people thinking because the Guildsman took forever, I mean that was because of the broken glass, that it's not worth doing these, or that they're not worth the time or something like that, because this is how easy it can be. I must point out at this point, the brush that I'm using on the interior is not the same metal brush that I was using on the base plate and the body. It's just a soft nylon brush, but it's cleaned it up perfectly. The wheels were already quite nice, despite how sort of, like I say, oxidised and ancient, sort of desiccated looking the body was. The wheels were pretty good. I'm just putting the tiniest little bit of liquid chrome on here and there just to bring them round, but I only do this on 2 out of the 4 wheels. The 2 of them were absolutely like new. I only showed a little bit of the preparation of the base plate and the body because well, I've got a lot of videos where I show a lot of going at base plates and body shells with wire wool and metal toothbrushes and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I must have spent at least 5 minutes, and 5 complete, like, real minutes on the base plate with the wire brush and with the little metal toothbrush and the wire wool, and same again for the body. So to get those two looking all shiny and silvery and new, yeah, that took about 10 minutes, I would have said. So the suspension on this is, unlike the Guildsman, it's not broken at all. It's perfect, and the glass hasn't got. I mean, it's only had a light sanding so far with 1000 grit, and it's almost perfect. Yeah, there's a little bit of a crack down the middle, but I don't think anybody's really going to see that when it's back together, because it looks like it'd be concealed by the roof, if not by the door frame. So final stage, I mean, obviously I did go down through the different grits, 1000 grit, then down to 2000, 3000, and so on and so on. This is the final stage. We're on the 12,000. I mean, I've got a video entirely about this process for using sanding pads to renew Matchbox glass, and I've got a complete video about mirror polishing the body as well. So I've just shown like little highlights in this one. But like I say, in real time, this probably took about 10 minutes to get to this stage, because we've not done the body yet. We've just done the base plate and the glass so far, and the wheels, because the wheels were quite well, and the interior, because the interior is really easy with that soft nylon brush. So the base plate's looking pretty much like it would have done when it was new. So there's just really the body itself now to get to. Well, we're trying to get this to us. I am going to mirror polish this to give it that sort of chrome look. Again, there's a whole video about each stage of doing this, but so the body's been prepared using the metal toothbrush to get it to the point where we can start sanding it. So I do then go down through all the sanding grades. Starting with 600 grit. Always start with 600, and just work down to, well, if you're mirror polishing, work down to 8,000 plus. 8,000. I usually finish on 12,000 grit just to get that final sort of chrome look. So yeah, there was a good 5 minutes of this, but I mean that genuinely, a good 5 minutes going down through all the different grades, and this is what I got at the end. So for now, I've put the glass back in, and you could just call it done at this point. You could just say, right, that's a nice quick little restoration. It's taken overall, probably taken about 15 minutes. I don't know if I mentioned that I managed to get this open without drilling it as well. This is another one where you can just dig away and crush the rivets using the tip of some long nose pliers, and just dig away at it a little bit with a couple of screwdrivers, and eventually it just comes free. So if you liked how it looked there, just as this kind of chrome mirror polish thing, you could just say that's done. That's your nice quick project. But I wanted to put a colour on it, because usually by the time I've mirror polished something, I just think, well, there's no point doing all that if I'm then not going to put a mad colour on top. So it's the dreaded airbrush again. I'm going for a green this time. It's not a massively messed around with green. It's almost just the Tamiya green just as it comes out of the jar. All I've done is mixed it with some clear to thin it out a bit, because I just think from the jar, especially the green and the blue Tamiya, they can just come out a little bit thick, and before you know it, you've made it so that, well, there was no point doing the mirror polishing, because you can't really see that anymore. You've just got quite a nice but quite dark and quite cloudy green on there. So I thinned it down a little bit just to give me a little bit more chance, so that I can get nice and close like this with putting it on, but without it just suddenly becoming too thick in no time at all, and all of a sudden, and like I say, there's just, you can't even see that chrome metal underneath anymore. All you've really got is just a fairly pleasant green, but one that you could have got without mirror polishing it. So I'd say this probably adds about, well, if you take into account the preparation time for the getting the paint ready and thinning it and things like that, and all the messing about cleaning the air gun out, and like you've always got to do with these things, probably weighs in about 40 minutes for the whole thing, including the paint. So it's a 20-minute project if you're happy with it being like that steel, like that chrome look, and it's a 40-minute project if you want it in this nice green at the end. So either way, it's really not taken long, but it's all been down to luck. It just so happened, even though this had obviously been treated just as badly as the Guildsman, if not worse, it just so happened that the glass survived a lot better than it did on that one, and neither of the suspension things were snapped. So that just saved so much work, and then I suppose it's always a nice bit of fortune if the airbrush job works out first time and doesn't need doing again, which was the case here. So catching up with the Guildsman, we can consider this to be done now, or certainly for now. It's certainly gone as far as it can for now, because if I take this glass any darker than it already is, it will just become completely opaque glass that you can't see the interior through at all. And like I say, at the moment, you can see the interior, but you can also still see the cracks a little bit if you look closely. But at first glance, it looks nice. It's certainly display worthy enough for me. It's certainly something I'd have no hesitation to put on my shelf, and I think it's come quite a long way since its humble beginnings as one of the roughest cars in the project pile. And then the Lamborghini Marzal, arguably it's turned out even better in a much shorter frame of time, but that it did have the advantage of having the completely undestroyed suspension and glass, which, bear in mind as well, when I say the Guildsman took a lot longer, it seems to have taken exponentially longer, because it's got many parts to its restoration here on YouTube, and the Marzal is all contained within one episode. But that's only really because there was a lot of waiting in between. The Marzal probably weighed in, like I said earlier in the video, probably weighs in about 40 minutes all in terms of work. The first 20 minutes of it was just straight through, literally without, you could just do that without a break. Then you've got to get your airbrush ready, and then that's your other 20. So to be fair, you could just do the whole thing straight through 40 minutes from start to finish, and the only waiting time is at the end when it's already done, because that's you do need to wait a good 24, well, really 48 hours for the transparent paint to be fully cured after you've airbrushed it on. But like I say, you do that after you've done it, so 40 minutes from start to finish. The Guildsman only weighs in about an hour. It's just that there's 5 days in between that hour, because you do a repair and then you come back to it the next day to sand that down, repair, and then take it on to the next stage. So although it was done across 5 days, it was only maybe 2-3. So some days it might only be 2 or 3 minutes of work, and then you'd wait until the next day. So what you've done is hardened up, and you can work on it. Anyway, there's a couple more minutes of footage of both the cars in their finished state. You don't really need me to tell you how to look at them. So for now, I will say thanks for watching, and hopefully see you on the next endeavour, whatever that might be. But it was going to be the second of the 10 Matchbox all at once things I'm doing, which, well, I mean, that is happening, that's coming, but there's a couple of other things that I've shoehorned in between, so I'll be putting those up before then. Anyway, whatever it is next, hopefully I'll see you there for it, and thanks for watching.